Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow the Exodus Business Development channel to learn more. What is money? Part 2 of 4. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Overview. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, also known as the Contract Clause, Currency Clause, and Treaty Clause, restricts the powers of the states in several specific ways to ensure a unified national policy and avoid conflicts between state and federal law. Text of the clause. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Key provisions: treaties, alliances, and confederations. States cannot enter into treaties, alliances, or confederations with foreign nations or other states. This ensures that foreign policy remains a federal responsibility. Letters of marque and reprisal. States are prohibited from issuing letters of marque and reprisal, which are government licenses authorizing private individuals to capture enemy vessels. This power is reserved for the federal government. Coining money. States cannot coin their own money. Only the federal government has the authority to create a unified national currency. Bills of credit. States are forbidden from issuing bills of credit, which are essentially promissory notes used as money. Legal tender. States cannot make anything other than gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. This was intended to prevent states from using paper money to discharge debts. Bills of attainder and ex post facto laws. States cannot pass bills of attainder, laws that single out individuals for punishment without trial, or ex post facto laws, laws that criminalize actions retroactively. Obligation of contracts. States cannot pass laws impairing the obligation of contracts. This clause protects the integrity of contracts against state interference. Titles of nobility. States are prohibited from granting titles of nobility, ensuring a republican form of government. Historical context. Creation. The clause was drafted during the Constitutional Convention of 1787 as part of the effort to create a strong federal government while limiting the powers of individual states. Implementation. It was implemented with the ratification of the U.S. Constitution on June 21, 1788. Significance. Economic stability. By preventing states from coining money, issuing bills of credit, and making anything other than gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, the clause helps maintain a stable and uniform national currency. Contract integrity. The prohibition against laws impairing the obligation of contracts protects private agreements from state interference, promoting economic stability and trust in commercial transactions. Unified foreign policy. By restricting states from entering into treaties and alliances, the clause ensures that foreign policy remains consistent and centralized under federal control. Resources for further reading. Cornell Law School Contract Clause. National Constitution Center. Article 1, Section 10, Constitution Annotated State Powers and the Contract Clause. Conclusion. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance between state and federal powers. By limiting the state's abilities to engage in certain activities, it ensures a cohesive national policy, economic stability, and the protection of contractual obligations. Laws defining what is considered money. Several U.S. laws outline what constitutes money and define related terms. Here are the key laws and legal definitions. 1. Federal Reserve Act, 1913, Establishment of the Federal Reserve. This act created the Federal Reserve System and authorized the issuance of Federal Reserve notes. Legal tender. Federal Reserve notes are declared to be obligations of the United States and are considered legal tender for all debts, public and private. 2. Coinage Act of 1965. Legal tender status. This act confirms that all coins and currencies of the United States are legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. Standardization of currency. The act established the standardization of coinage and the elimination of silver from certain denominations, emphasizing fiat money. 3. 12 U.S. Code Section 411. Issuance of Federal Reserve Notes. This section of the U.S. Code specifies that Federal Reserve notes are issued at the discretion of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and are to be redeemed in lawful money on demand. 4. 31 U.S. Code Section 5103 Legal Tender Definition. This statute defines U.S. coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of Federal Reserve banks and national banks, as legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. Key legal definitions and concepts. Legal tender definition. Money that must be accepted if offered in payment of a debt. Sources. 31 U.S. Code Section 5103. United States coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of Federal Reserve banks and national banks, are legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. Lawful money definition. Money that is legally recognized for the payment of debts and is redeemable by the U.S. Treasury or Federal Reserve banks. Sources. 12 U.S. Code Section 411 specifies the redemption of Federal Reserve notes in lawful money upon demand. Fiat money definition. Currency that a government has declared to be legal tender, but it is not backed by a physical commodity. Significance. The U.S. moved to a fiat money system after abandoning the gold standard in 1971. Impact of these laws. These laws collectively define the nature of money in the U.S. financial system, establish the framework for the issuance and redemption of currency, and ensure that all forms of U.S. currency are accepted in transactions and for the payment of debts. For further reading, you can explore the following resources: Federal Reserve Act, 1913, Coinage Act of 1965, 12 U.S. Code Section 411, 31 U.S. Code Section 5103. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow the Exodus Business Development channel to learn more.